Israel, Kaba Egypt, Kaja Ethiopia, Kaja Sudan, Waja Shong. Kaja Ikushima, you know, Wanime Kona, me Waja Shong. So Timbuktu, Ghana, Mali, Sumanguru, you know, Waja Shong. Waja Jagay, Waja Shong. Manchester, no Sumanguru, you know, walk where you get, what you show. Cause to you know, Bamasa, you know, Yasan, you know, what you show. Get Israel, Kaba Egypt, get Ethiopia, get Sudan, what you show. Aquaka, Bachimo, one year, for Karacha, I get you one year, and in young fang. Aquaka, Bachimo, one year, for Karacha. I get you one year, I'm a young thing. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Cabo young Motu, I'm a Cabo young Watumo. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Cabo young Motu, I'm a Cabo young Watumo. I'm a Cabo young Watumo, we not a catch more walk out Banya. Can you change Sanya Mama? Can you change Sanya Mama? Can you change Sama? Can you change Sanya Mama? You more Bobby.
Hello, hi. My name is Calibos, the only boss with one S. I'm sure you've heard about Tap Send. Yes, I'm here to tell you Tap Send is the secure way to send money from UK, from the US, from Canada, from Europe to Africa or Asia with no fee. Very fast and very secure. So what are you waiting for? Get onto that platform. It's Tap Send. You can find it on the App Store or Play Store. And guess what? If you use the promo code Calibos, you get for your first transaction you make $10 free. If you're from the US and you're from the UK, it's £5 free. And from Europe, anywhere in Europe, you get €5 free. It's Tap Send.
Me did the young antechua, and maybe I'm discovered for Europe. I come a bushing for Ghana. No, me used to tap send, tap send. No fee mobile money transfer. Eye easy, eye convenient, eye fast, and sounds so free. Won't you share? Me discover ye map him. Tap send. Intienne. Also download the tap send app. No, ever mobile phone so free. Na first ka come a bushing for Ghana for na. Tap send. Papa no.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. My name is Emmanuel Kusikwesim, the chairman of Ghana Union UK. As always, we want to share with you knowledge, information, make you aware so that you are not far from the truth when it comes to misinformation. So we always try our best to bring you experts, in their field who can talk to the issues of the day. And Ghana, as every other country, there's always something new. And therefore, as a community here in the diaspora, we aim to do our best to make sure that anything that is of interest to us, we also have the opportunity to discuss it. Tonight, we have an interesting topic. As you all know, we are going to discuss about E-LEVY. We have all heard on the news, E-LEVY in Ghana, E-LEVY in Ghana. We want to know tonight the what, the how, and the why. And we have an expert who will take us through this evening. And I'm sure by the time you leave here, you'll be much more aware of the repercussions, the interest that it will bring to Ghana, how it will support Ghana, what impact it will have on each of us as we transact businesses in Ghana, either from here or in Ghana being present. Audience, as always, we'll go through a few running order. Please take note of the following, that this program is put together in partnership with Ghana Union, UK, the umbrella body of the Ghanaian community in our diaspora and for those who are affiliated to it. And with the support of Ghana Nurses Association, UK, the Ghanaian Nightingale Nurses Association, UK, the Western Region Nurses Association, UK. It is supported by Ghana High Commission and Omega Live TV. We have been supported by TapTap Money Transfer Company. Please visit them, use them. Their sending rate is virtually zero. You use them as many times and you wouldn't have to pay a thing. IT Consortium for all your IT needs, all your security features, anything that you're doing relating to online security, they are there to help you. And of course, Ghana High Commission proudly endorses what we do because they believe it's the right thing to do for the Ghanaian community. A few rules apply this evening. Audience, please ensure that you raise your hand when you're about to speak using the Zoom icon so that we can call you. You can also use the Zoom icon to Zoom platform to put your messages there and we'll read it. Those watching from Facebook and YouTube, please go ahead and put your messages there. We will make sure you are also heard through the forum. When you're about to speak, please kindly, where possible, show your face so we can engage with a person other than an image. And one question at a time, please, so that others too will have the chance to ask their question. We can always come back to you if you have more. And where possible, please kindly go straight to the point. I do have to say tonight's event is non-political. The person coming to talk has no political interest in what we are going to discuss. He's just going to give you the facts when it comes to taxation as an expert. And therefore, we are not going to hopefully ask our question on political lines. I do plead with you to ensure that we don't go down that route. On that note, I am privileged to introduce to you our special guest tonight. Our special guest tonight is a senior lecturer at the School of Law, University of Ghana. He has over 28 years of extensive experience in consultancy, taxation, accounting, auditing, and law. He holds a Bachelor of Honors degree in economics with philosophy, a Master of Philosophy in economics, and a post-first degree Bachelor of Laws, LLB, all from the University of Ghana. A qualifying certificate for the practice of law from the Ghana School of Law, and a Doctor of Philosophy in Tax Policy from the University of Pretoria. He is a member of the Ghana Bar Association the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, the Institute of Internal Auditors, Ghana, the South African Institute of Tax Professionals, and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Ghana. He teaches the Law of Taxation and Commercial Law, LLB program, and Physical Dimensions of Oil and Gas, Functional Law, and Comparative Institution of Government and Administration, LLM program. He also teaches taxation at the BSc level administration program and taxes and business strategy, MBA and MSc finance programs at the University of Ghana School of Business School. He is the author of the book titled Taxation in Ghana, Principles, Practice, and Planning, and a co-author with Dr. Benjamin Kumbo and William Kofi Owusu Dimitia of the book titled The Law of Taxation in Ghana. He is also a co-author with Dr. Samuel Addo and for the book titled Public Sector Economics and Finance. He is also a co-author of 2 books, chapters, and 89 articles to his name. He is currently the director of Ali Nechia and Associates, a firm of tax attorneys, solicitors, and consultants in Accra. Audience, please join me in welcoming Dr. Abdullah Ali Nachia, Senior Lecturer, School of Law, University of Ghana, Legon, and Director of Ali Nachia and Associates in Accra. Doc, good evening.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And good evening to everybody.
Yes, it's nice to have you for devoting your time to the causes of Ghana and to the people in the diaspora through the Community Awareness Forum. This is an authoritative forum where we discuss, we interrogate, and we debate matters of interest both here in the UK and in Ghana. As you know, we have links there, we have roots there. Anything that goes on there, we have a stake and an interest in it. So your job tonight is the fact and give us the information and then leave us to our own devices.
Thank you very much. Exactly. Thank you very much, and nice interacting with you. As you rightly said, with your links in Ghana, I also have my links with you in the UK. My brothers are there, my sisters, my cousins. I've seen some of them here already, Cassie and George Noilate and all of them. So can I have your permission to share my screen so we take off?
I do have to say you have a very impressive resume and well done.
Thank you.
Blade of work and achievements.
Most grateful. Okay, so let me try and share the screen and then we take off. Since you'll be preparing for the weekend, we don't have to take too much of your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. As Chairman has already told us, we are going to have a discussion, not a debate, apolitical. We want to know about the E-Levy. What is it about? Why is it being imposed? How is it intended to be imposed? What are the pros and cons? Because we have those who are arguing why we don't need it. Some are also saying we need it. And we have those who are in the middle ground, trying to find a middle way. How can we accommodate it as a tax type? So as an outline, we will do an introduction, giving a background to the E-Levy. On the what, we will look at what others are doing across the world. The why, we want to look at what is the justification for the E-Levy. The how, we want to look at the imposition of the E-Levy. How is it being proposed to work? What is the impact on the economy? And then we give summary and recommendations, then we can conclude. We'll also give you a list of references that we decided to look at, so those who want to do further review or introspection can go to them. I want to start with some quotes that border on taxation that are very relevant to the discussions we are going to have. Jean-Baptiste Colbert, a former Minister of Finance to King Louis, had this to say. He said the art of taxation consists in so plucking the goose as to obtain the largest amount of feathers with the least possible amount of hasten. So that is what taxation is about. Every government wants to raise a lot of revenue, but not to hear the citizens complaining, screaming, and what have you. Is the likeliness of what this quotation is all about. How can we get a lot of revenue to provide services that the citizens need, but not hurting them, as it were? Then Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, a former US Supreme Court justice, also had this to say, that taxation is the price we pay for living in a civilized society. This is one of the justifications why we need to pay taxes, because government fends for us, healthcare, roads, we talk about water, electricity, jobs, all are taking care of the security, the police, the military. They all give us the sense of being in a civilized world. If somebody wrongs you, the courts are there, you can seek redress, then we know that the environment is worth living in. But this cannot be done without tax revenue, because it's the main source of revenue to government. Frederick the Great, 18th century Prussian king, also said, no government can exist without taxation. This money must necessarily be levied on the people. And the grand art consists of levying so as not to oppress. And like preachers would always say, if you even quote the Bible, you need to quote it as a whole. So those who want to quote it for a purpose will say, no government can exist without taxation, and end there. They won't continue with the fact that, yes, you can do that, but don't make sure what you are doing is oppressive. So it's a balancing act, raising the revenue, but ensuring that the citizens also have a breathing space. The last one is from Parkinson, who said there are limits to the collection of revenue and that evils multiply when these limits are ignored. However, the tendency to cross these limits appears to be universal, eternal, and all but irresistible. Same as the earlier quotations, that you can raise revenue, but you have to have a limit. And when he talks about the evils multiplying, he's talking about the fact that when you exceed the limit of taxing people, they also find ways to evade the tax or avoid it. And that is what this quotation is about. And that the limit to becomes irresistible, because when the government has the penchant to continue raising revenue for taxation, it distorts the economy, which is why he's saying that we shouldn't be too focused on tax alone. Now, if you look at the COVID-19 pandemic, all governments, all countries are going through a whole lot of stress in terms of fiscal space. And that is one reason why every government is looking at all ways, all fronts, to be able to have additional revenue, to be able to recover all the losses incurred during the COVID pandemic, which is still ongoing in a way. And so that is one reason that we will find that taxes are being introduced, ways of taxing people are being discussed. And in Ghana, we also have a program we call the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, where poor households that are identified are given some money for their sustenance on quarterly basis. Now, if we have a pandemic, then it means those people shift more into excess levels of poverty, because even under normal circumstances, they were poor. With the pandemic, then their little source of livelihood may have even whittled away. So this background gives us the reason why you find the proposals by various governments, our government inclusive, as you find in the 2022 budget statement that was presented, that government has also identified that because of the growth in the digital economy, people are transacting a lot of business on the financial sector in the digital space. How do we identify them and be able to get our fair share of contribution to national development? Because they were looking at the growth rate of about 44% in these digital transactions in a one-year period of February 2019 to February 2020. So with this background, you would understand why government would try to look at other sources to raise revenue. So what are others doing across the globe? We want to situate ourselves in sub-Saharan Africa because this is where we belong. So our discussion would focus more on Africa. Now, if you go to Kenya, they have a 10% tax which applies on the fees that the mobile money vendors will take on any financial transaction that they conduct for a client. If you go to Tanzania, it's also 10% and it is levied on mobile money transaction fees. Now in Tanzania, what happened was that with the 1%, there was agitation, and then the president had to decree and cause the Minister of Finance to revise the fees downwards. In Zimbabwe, it is 0.05 of a dollar on transactions. And then if you go to Uganda, they also impose 1% on the fees that the mobile money transfers are done, but they excluded the banks, the financial sector, only on mobile money. They introduced it in July 2018, and within a month, August 2018, they found a huge drop in the mobile money transactions. So they dropped the fee from 1% rate to 0.5%. In Ivory Coast, our neighbor, they are imposing 0.5% on cash transfers over mobile money services. And January this year, Cameroon introduced their mobile money at the rate of 0.2%. So if you look at what is happening in the region, it will seem as if you look at the countries I've looked at, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, that's those in East Africa, their charges are on the fees that are charged by the telecommunication companies on the amount to transfer. So in Ghana, for example, if MTN is taking 1% of a transfer, then the charge is on the 1%. So if you are sending 100 Ghana cedis and you would pay 1 cedi, they are taking the fee on the 1 cedi. If you look at the countries that are imposing it on the value of the money transfer, Cote d'Ivoire and Cameroon, you will find out that it is 0.5%, 0.2%, meaning invariably countries that are taxing it on the value of your transfer, as Ghana is contemplating, they happen to be below 1%. So you would appreciate why the debate by some people is that we agree, if you want it to be at that high rate, it should be on the fee. If you want it to be on the value, then can you consider a reduction? So that has been the debate ongoing in Ghana. So what is Ghana's position on the electronic transactions levy? In the 2022 budget, it was proposed to be imposed at 1.75% on the value. So as you can see, it is not on the fee charge, it's on the value. But then it went ahead to say that we are going to give a threshold if cumulatively you are sending 100 cedis a day, you will not be affected by the charge of the 1.75. So approximately they are looking at a cumulative transfer of 3,000 Ghana cedis a month, you will not be affected. So if you read the provisions, digital transactions, you are tempted to believe that, yes, the target was to look at people who may have been trading or conducting business using the mobile money. If you look at the bill that went to Parliament, in any case, the bill has been withdrawn. The minister had also proposed that he was prepared to reduce the rate from 1.75% to 1.5%. So we are giving the background of the history and then what the situation is now, so you can follow the trajectory and the discussions. So in section 2, subsection 2 of the bill that went to Parliament, which has been withdrawn, the threshold of 100 that will not be taxed is stated. The levy will not apply if the transfer is also between accounts owned by the same person. So because with the mobile money, because of the mobile money interoperability, which means the mobile money was now linked to your bank account. You can go to the bank and transfer money in your account onto your mobile money wallet, and then you can be spending. So instead of going to the bank to sign a check and withdraw or fill in a cash withdrawal form, you have it on your mobile money wallet. So if you get to a place and you want to transact, you can just show the phone, and once the barcode matches it, the amount is deducted. So if it is between the same account, you are moving it from your account onto your wallet, it will not be subject to E-levy. It is when you are moving to a third person that the charges would apply. It also exempted payments that are going to be made for taxes, because people can now pay their taxes using mobile money. All you need to do is to dial *222#, and then you are into the GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority platform, and you can make payment of your taxes. You can also make payment of certain statutory fees and charges using the Ghana Gov system. The Ghana government has a portal through which you can make various payments, be it your payment for your license renewal, payment for any other charges that the government agency is collecting. So those are also excluded, and it's understandable because government cannot be seen to be taxing itself when it is raising that revenue. Then the law also says specific merchant payments would not also be subject to tax, because we have the Social Security and National Insurance Trust and the Ghana Revenue Authority, as I've mentioned, have made their platform accessible for contributions of the Social Security of employees. They are seeking to exempt some of these from the application of the levy. Then also within the telco space, the principal, the agents, and their masters, in terms of the transfer for somebody to also be able to continue operating and servicing his clients, were also going to be exempt. So these were the exemptions that were completed. So as a nutshell of what we have discussed, if you look at the source that we got from the mobile money global index, you have the country, Uganda, the type of tax mobile money levy, the date that it was imposed, as I mentioned, the rate, 0.5%. And then the last column tells us the mobile money accounts in that country that is being targeted, 27 million. Zimbabwe, they also have the mobile money, or E-levy, came on board October 2018 at the rate of 2%, which is 9.4 million they are targeting who operate mobile money. Tanzania also has mobile money levy, started July 2021, and they have 0.1%, and they are targeting a base of 33 million. Ghana E-levy, we contemplated 1st of February 2022. It has lapsed because of the debate, consultation still ongoing. The proposal was 1.75%. And as I said, the minister has indicated he is prepared to look at 1.5. And we are looking at about 12 million mobile money accounts. They keep growing by the day. Cameroon had a mobile money tax this year, January, at 20.20%, and they are targeting 19.5 million. So if you look at the map of Africa, you realize that mobile money taxation is very prevalent in East Africa. because you can see Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, Tanzania, and then Zimbabwe, down there, Malawi, they have it. If you come to West Africa, you can see we have Cote d'Ivoire, who is our neighbor that has it. So it tells you those who have taken the lead in looking at mobile money tax as a source of revenue for the state. The way forward and the justification, we mentioned some of them because you realize that the tax GDP ratio in our country is on the low side. We are now around 13.5% tax GDP ratio. But as a middle income country, we should be ranging between 18% to about 25%. And so the idea is that can we increase our performance when we introduce new tax types so we can increase the revenue that we are generating? Because the idea is that a lot of the informal sector are found operating the mobile money. And the idea is this: if you are going to open an account with the bank, you know the forms you have to complete, referees you need to provide. And so people find it convenient to open mobile money accounts on their phones where all these requests are not required. So you find a huge category in there. And government thinks that if we want to get to the informal sector to contribute to revenue generation, let's look at E-LEVY. So that is what brought it in the 2022 budget in trying to look at this sector. And also the fact that a lot of people may be operating in the shadow economy. Carpenters, painters, plumbers will do work on your building. Maybe they say you can pay me through my mobile money. Question is, how do you locate them? How do they contribute their quota? So that if they are taking the E-LEVY, then we will be able to get their contribution. But the debate there is this: you, the person paying, is the one who is to suffer the 1.75. Does it actually get to the person to pay? That was the debate that was ongoing. And also the fact that, as I indicated, a lot of business is going on the digital space. Somebody would put a laptop on social media. I have this laptop for sale. Somebody responds, I'm interested, how much? He says 1,500. Say, okay, send to my Momo, this is my number, and meet me at the Junction Mall and I deliver it to you. Question is, a sale has occurred. How do we get our fair share? Then the debate there is it not a case of trying to then tax e-commerce rather than tax the mobile money transfer? So all those debates are ongoing. And so this is where government thinks that the E-LEVY would be one way they could seek to increase the revenue base of Ghana. What is the justification for E-LEVY? Government indicates that part of the revenue to be generated, 0.25 percentage points, would be channeled to support road infrastructure development. And then also another 0.25 percentage will go to help transportation, the provision of public transport, including purchasing buses to help in the mass transport sector. And then a portion was also being targeted to be used to support entrepreneurship, youth employment, cyber security, and the digital infrastructure. So government has what we call the Youth Start program, where the youthful entrepreneurs can access some funds and go into some kind of business. And that is where the debate also comes, and we'll come to that. And the effective date that was being was 1st of February, but unfortunately here we are, February is almost gone and we haven't taken off yet. So the debate then begins as to what is the impact of the E-LEVY on the economy. So we'll be looking at both sides of debates and then analyze it. The Bank of Ghana in their August 2017 report indicated as follows: that in Ghana, the mobile money wallet is mainly used to transfer value from one person to another person, what in their language they call the P2P, for payment of goods and services such as buying airtime, paying for utility bills, gold and DSTV bills, salaries of some workers, taxi fares, microcredit, savings and micro insurance. The mobile money industry creates jobs for the mobile money agents, service providers, and users, including fintech companies, merchants, retailers, and aggregators. The number of mobile money agents at end December 2016 was 107,415. And that is the source, the impact of mobile money on payment systems in Ghana. Now, the issue that comes up for discussion is this. We will see the uses of the mobile money, payment of goods and services. That is an area that government is ideally targeting to see those who are making income from trading using the mobile money. But again, you also realize that if it is made across board, kind of a blanket application, what happens to salaries of some workers? Because there are workers who are being paid by mobile money. And so their income will suffer the employee tax, pay as you earn. And if the employer is sending it to their MUMO, has to deduct another 1.75%. That is the concern. There are others who are using it for microcredit. There are people who borrow on their mobile account. Indeed, you will be sending mobile money to somebody, you ask for his account, you say, oh, wait, let me give you another number. The earlier one I had, I owe on it. If you send it there, they will take it away from me. So he tells you, I was sending once to somebody. He said, no, don't send to that number. I owe MTN 600 Ghana cedis. And I was sending 200. It means he won't even receive it. So you see the dilemma. Then there is the micro insurance, where we have some that are with the various telcos have teamed up with some of the insurance companies, and they are able to pay their insurance premiums through the mobile money. And the question is, if you are to pay a premium of, say, 200, and then 100 is a discount, and the other 100 you have to pay the charge on it, then that money getting to the insurance company will be less than the 200. The question would be, have you then paid your premium? If you are engaged in an accident, can you qualify for a claim? Because from their records, it means you've not paid up. Or then it means you have to pay in excess of the 200 that is taking account of the E-LEVY. Then we come to the area of the employment. If you listen to the Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Kuma, he indicated that their research showed that the impact on mobile money would be a drop of about 24%. The question is, assuming it affects the patronage, then it will affect employment as well in that sector, in terms of the agents and what have you. So we can estimate 24% drop in the 107 employed in that sector, roughly, to see the kind of unemployment that may be created. Now, that data was 2017. So here we are with current data up to 2021 October. If you look on that, you will see the number of registered mobile money accounts in millions. It's now about 47.3 million. If you look at the last column, the first figure, that's for October 2021. So being in 2022, by now it has increased again. But out of that 47, the active mobile money accounts are 18 million, which is why 18.4, which is why if you look at the table I showed earlier, I said Ghana was looking at about 19 million. The registered agents who are operating within the mobile money space are 562,000 who are employed in that sector. But the active agents are 441,000. So if we want to analyze the effect on employment, if mobile money drops in terms of patronage, it will throw some people out of job. And that will be an impact on the 441 currently employed. Now, if you look at this chart, the red line shows the number of mobile money customers, and the blue line shows the number of bank customers. So you can see that as at December 2016, the number of people operating mobile money accounts had exceeded people keeping money in the bank. As I indicated, the rigors of opening a bank account and all that make people more comfortable with keeping their money on their mobile money wallet. And the source is the Bank of Ghana from 2013 to 2016. So obviously, if you see these volumes, it gives an idea why government would like to look there for support. And then if you look at the analysis by Bryce Simmons of Imani in 2021, he indicated that we need to look at the behavioral patterns of patronizers of the mobile money. Because the idea is this: if you are taking any policy decision, it should be a process, not an event. So you need to do a dynamic analysis of, if I impose the E-levy, what is going to be the impact on employment, as in the agents and those involved in the mobile money industry? What is going to be the reaction of the customers? Would people be reverting to the bank, or would people go back to old ways of holding cash? Then you would have to see, that will guide you to know how best to design your policy to have that minimal impact. As I quoted at the beginning, you want to pluck a lot of feathers with little hissing. And we keep saying that the best tax policy is one that will reduce any unintended consequences of the economy. Because if the unintended consequences outweigh the revenue you are going to raise, then you better may not have had to go that direction. One of the impacts also identified was the unnecessary reduction in disposable income. And this is premised by the fact that I gave an example. If you are sending 200 Ghana cedis, per the current arrangement, the first 100 is not taxable, but the next 100 will suffer the 1.75. The question is that what you will receive will then be less than the 200 you anticipated. And that is going to impact on your spending as well, because your disposable income has reduced. And the idea is that if you had that 200 and spend, it will be income to whichever producer or seller you paid. And that would have reflected in that person's income for tax purposes. So the reduction would go to affect consequentially all your ability to spend, and it being income to those industries where you would have paid. So we look at the impact of the 1.75 tax. We are using MTN because Vodafone does not charge, it's zero. If you do a Vodacash, there is no charge. So if you have an amount of 100 cedis, you pay a service charge of 1%, which is 1 cedi. There is no tax by way of E-levy because the first 100 is relieved from the E-levy. So the total charge is 1 cedi, and the cost to the sender is 101. Because if you want the person at the other end to receive exactly 100, then you may have to pay 102, because you pay 1 cedi charge. When the person is also withdrawing, would pay 1 cedi charge and then have the 100 intact. If it's 500, you are paying 1% charge, which is 5 cedis, and then you pay the E-levy 7 cedis, so your total charge is going up to 12. But previously it would have been 505. Now you have to pay 512. And as I indicated, if you want the person on the other side, the receiving end, to get exactly 500, then it means you need to pay 524. 12 will be at the point you are sending, the 12 will be at the receiving end. And so that is how it goes. So with the 500, the charge of 7 cedis is so because the first 100 is exempt, so the 1.75 is on the 400. If it's 1,000, the first 100 is exempt, the charge is on the 900. So you can see by way of cost what is going to be now for the impact. So we decided to look also where the telcos have now decided that we are going to reduce our charges, which they have done. They are no longer taking 1%, they've given off 0.25. So they are charging 0.75%. And government is also saying we also come down by 0.5. So you can see the assistance the telcos have given us here. The 0.25 reduction has made government also take off the 0.25 on the 1.75. And then you see that the implication would be this marginal 0.25 reduction across board in the analysis we did earlier. The other impact of concern to a lot of people is the reversal on the gains on financial inclusion. With the digitization agenda of this government, a lot of people have signed on to a lot of mobile money operations because of this kind of interoperability. So the challenge that is going to occur that people are thinking is that Ghana had already been acknowledged by the World Bank in 2019 as one of the fastest growing mobile money markets in Africa. And if you listen to all those concerned, they thought we should continue to grow it to a level that is sustainable. Then we can think about taxes, because in that case, people would have been used to it and withdrawal symptoms may be minimal. But at this stage that it is growing, when you introduce a tax, the tendency for people to withdraw from using the mobile money or not even signing on in the first place may affect the financial inclusion agenda of government, because people are now comfortable making payments person to person, government to person, to other customer to producer. And we thought that that would also help in financial inclusion and then the financial operability. If you look at May 2020, the Ministry of Finance had a policy directive. 3 policies were rolled out: the National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy, the Digital Financial Services Policy, and the Cash Light Roadmap. The idea is to make Ghana cash light by 2023. People should not be using cash. They should now have signed on to a lot of these financial products so that we can be dealing on the digital space. And in the press release from the Ministry of Finance, the Honorable Minister for Finance mentioned that digital payments help to drive transparency, accountability, efficiency, as well as greater women's participation in the economy. Moving away from cash helps our country advance towards achieving many of the sustainable development goals. So we are asking, wouldn't this tax hit against this laudable objective that the Ministry of Finance has set itself? Because COVID is still with us, a lot of transactions are being undertaken digitally. Is it then not appropriate to try to either take a second look at it, review either the rate or the threshold? In the same press release, we had the managing director of the UN-based Better Than Cash Alliance, Dr. Ruth Godwin-Groin, saying that Ghana is already recognized as a global digital payments success story. We look forward to continuing working with our members, the government, as well as the private sector and international organizations to accelerate the new ambitious Cashlight Roadmap in a way that is responsible and responsive to the needs of all Ghanaians. So you can see that the financial inclusion agenda is being touted. The Cashlight agenda is on everybody's radar to ensure that we move on to these mobile money platforms and other payment systems that the fintechs have rolled out. Again, the head of corporation, deputy head of mission of Swiss Embassy also said SECO has been committed to supporting the growth of digital financial services in Ghana, because we are aware of the substantial positive impact it has on driving financial access for the poor, unleashing innovation and making the economy more resilient. We are very proud to have contributed to the development of the DFS policy and look forward to working closely with our Ghanaian partners to implement its pillars. Congratulations, Ghana. So these statements by these 3 notable personalities, including our Minister of Finance, goes to show why some people are worried that with mobile money has contributed significantly to financial inclusion. How would this affect all the laudable gains that have been achieved? Because in Uganda, for example, bank check limits have been reduced, and the idea is to boost the e-transactions. Otherwise, people were all moving back to the transactions. And so that is where the fear is, that the impact may be that the gains that have been achieved may be reversed. But all the others agree that yes, there will be a reversal, but there is a hope that the reversal may be temporal and it will bounce back. That is what the response has been. Then the rates of youth and unemployment, we have said it, and so we can't beat about it again. The mobile money agents, the fintech companies, retailers. We had one of the fintechs that has been granting loans through mobile money, indicating that they may be out of business immediately this is rolled out. And then if you look at the countries that have it, we can learn lessons from there, because in Uganda and Congo, we have the results to show the number of people who have left the mobile money market and the fear that this could lead to underground economy, which moves to the next impact, the risk of money laundering. And we are doing a lot in Ghana, such as registering our SIM card, linking it up to the Ghana card to be able to drive away people who are perpetrating fraud through the financial system. The question is, once this tax comes and people try to leave the mobile money space, they become ready market for these kind of underground dealings. And that is what we think should be considered in trying to design a way to prevent it from happening, if even anybody intends to go that way. So as we indicated, we want to summarize and give a few recommendations that indeed the policy is a good policy, but some say it is not right for implementation in the way it is as of now. And I think that those kind of positions have been vindicated by the fact that you find government now holding town hall meetings, discussing with stakeholders and trying to get the education done, get views collated, and be able to look at it. So it wasn't wrong when people thought that, look, can you hold on and hold consultations and make sure that what you are bringing would stand the test of time? Because the idea is this: if it is about taxing the digital economy, the Ghana Revenue Authority has designed a policy document with a rollout strategy on how to tax the digital economy, which the Commissioner General announced last week will be rolled out 1st of April. So it means that it can be dealt with by another means. Then also we are saying that we can learn from Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda on the impact of the E-Levy on financial inclusion. So it will guide us to be able to stem the tide of any fallout of the policy that we are thinking about. Because some of the challenges of implementing the E-Levy has to do with the idea of in taxation, you need to identify the taxpayer and you need to monitor the taxpayer. Remember, we've given a threshold of 100 that is not subject to the E-Levy. Who monitors to see the person has transferred and has crossed the 100 threshold? If he sends 100 by mobile money operator A, goes to C, send 100, goes to B with different numbers, how are we going to collate and be sure he is not avoiding the E-Levy? The collection mechanism and record keeping, because with taxation, you need to audit the taxpayer. So the person going to collect, if it is the telcos that would assist the Ghana Revenue Authority to collect this E-Levy, what are the records that are being kept? How would the audit be done? What are the scope of exemptions? We need to go through all this, and then we will be sure that the policy we have is watertight, and then we'll be able to rake in the revenue that is being anticipated. Also, if the idea is that the informal sector need to contribute their quota for revenue mobilization, the question is, we have modified taxation system in our tax law, the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896. In the second schedule to the Act, there is modified taxation, which has been what is called presumptive tax, where the informal sector, we are looking at those who have a turnover of around 200,000, for example, a year, pay 3% as your tax liability. It covers your value-added tax, your income tax, and nobody will disturb you again. It's an idea of getting them to contribute their quota as they grow their business to join the formal sector. It's been in our law since 2015. Thankfully, in the budget, it's been stated that it's going to be rolled out this year. So if it's about the informal sector, a policy exists to deal with that. And then also there is the debate that if the revenue is meant, part of it is to help in creating employment, the question has to be that what happened to the communication service tax, CST? When it came, it was called talk tax. And the idea was for it to be used to help the National Youth Employment Program and be able to create jobs and assist in creating jobs for the youth. Question is, what has it done so far? How is it performing? If it is about trying to increase the rate from the current 6% to say 7%, so it can bring more money to solve our unemployment problem, is that another option we can look at? So those are the suggestions that have been forward for discussion. And then also the second look at the rate, we've been told the minister has indicated he's prepared to look at 1.5%. So yes, that is being considered. But then there is also the debate that once it is not on the fee, but it's on the value, can we look at the other countries that are doing 0.5% like Cote d'Ivoire, 0.2% like Cameroon? Can we then be anywhere between 0.5 and 1%, 0.5, 0.7, whatever, because it's on the value so that the impact can be less as a start. Because come July, the minister will have to present a mid-year review. If we had agreed on maybe below 1% or 1%, it would have been rolled out in the 1st February. And then by July, we would have seen the performance and we could now review upwards. And that is what some have been debating, that over the years, you can be reviewing depending on how it is performing in bringing in revenue. So in conclusion, so that we have more time for questions and discussion, we are saying that if we are not careful, the impact of the E-levy may outweigh the purported revenue inflows. And so we call on policymakers to see how we can have a win-win situation. We're able to raise the revenue, little hissing from the people. We're able to raise the revenue without burdening the people, something like that. Then we are saying that with the steady growth of digitalization, we believe that once the Ghana Revenue Authority is rolling out the taxation of e-commerce, we'll be able to identify all these businesses and be able to get them to pay their fair share of taxes. And then also the informal sector, we've talked about the modified taxation system already. And then there is also the provision that people are making the suggestions, because there are people who say those against the E-levy are not making any suggestions. They have made a lot of suggestions, which include the fact that let's plug the loopholes and leakages in our revenue mobilization effort. Because if you look at the report by the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, that was done in collaboration with the Ghana Integrity Initiative, which is the local chapter of Transparency International, they report that every year Ghana loses about $3 billion in corruption. Corruption takes away over $3 billion every year from our economy. And if we look at even exchange rate of a conservative 6 cedis, that is going to give you 18 billion. And that will be almost 3 times the E-levy revenue we are targeting this year. If you look at the ASEP report on illicit financial flows, we are told that there is loss of $2 billion every year from mining only. We've not looked at over-invoicing and the invoicing at the port. We've not looked at transfer pricing. And then $2 billion at conservative rate of 6 cedis, we are talking about 12 billion a year. And so if you even add it to corruption, then we are way heading towards over 50 billion we can raise in every year. And others also propose that the Auditor General's report is showing us losses of revenue by infractions. Why can't we surcharge the people involved? Because the cash malfeasance alone is in the region of about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis. Although the total infractions is about 12.85 billion, we will say that for some of them, court processes and all those can delay. But how about the cash infractions that we can go after? And so a lot of people are also proposing, why can't we be effective and efficient in collecting the existing taxes? Because if we have, for example, if you look at Ghana, we have Laboni, Cantonments, East Legon, Roman Ridge, Airport Residential. A lot of houses there are 1/3 owner occupies, almost 2/3 rented out. How much are we getting by way of rent tax? Because if it's residential, it's 8%. And if it is for commercial purposes, an office or a shop, we have to pay 15%. And I'm sure on visit to Ghana, you see the string of shops all over town. If they are renting the places for the shops, they should be paying 15% as rent tax. What do we have to show? Property taxes, you know, you come anytime, I'm sure you see a lot of houses springing up. How much are we paying as property tax? Property rate is nothing to write home about. 135 Ghana cedis the whole year for a property is nothing to write home about. And then people are saying we should be effective and efficient because even in COVID times in 2020, 2021, the Ghana Revenue Authority exceeded its targeted revenue collections. The projection given them, they exceeded. For 2021, they posted 265.39 million excess collection. And the Commissioner General indicated that they were able to achieve this because they plugged loopholes in tax avoidance by some multinationals in the extractive sector. They also deployed digital and specialized monitoring platforms for tax collection. They enhanced collection at the ports through the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS, and they also increased attention to sectors of the economy that showed growth. Because with COVID, some businesses were going down, others were progressing. There are companies that converted and were now producing a lot of the COVID kind of things we needed. Nose masks, the protective gear, and all that. And so there are like Casapreco, for example, had to convert one of its lines to be producing hand sanitizers. So they paid attention to sectors that were growing even in COVID times, and they were able to exceed their target. So it shows that if we're effective and efficient in revenue administration, all existing taxes, all who should pay taxes should be made to pay. For example, the minister tells us over 60,000 professionals not paying taxes. But we have the Revenue Administration Act, which tells us that you cannot renew your practicing license as a professional unless you produce a tax clearance certificate. So all the lawyers, accountants, doctors, so the Medical Dental Council, to renew the practice certificate of a doctor, you need to ensure they've paid their taxes and produced tax clearance. We could get all these professionals on board. We are talking about a population of 30 million with a tax-paying population in the region of 8 to 12 million, yet only 2 million or less are paying taxes. So it means if we can double that figure or triple it by ensuring all who are to pay are paid, then it means we can collect enough. So that has been the debate which has been ongoing on the E-Levy, and I want to thank you for your attention and patience, and we can now take your contributions, concerns, and questions. Here are the references I promise you could go to confirm a lot of the discussions we are having. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
You're most welcome, Chairman.
You have not surprised me. As a lecturer, I can listen to you to tomorrow. So the worst is to go to a lecture room and have a boring lecture. So I'm sure you're one of the people that everyone wants to come to your class because you're very convincing.
Thank you very
You've
much.
given us a lot of good information. We will take a few seconds break so you can grab some water and wet your throat. We'll come back. I do encourage audience to raise their hand using the chat room. Either put a message in the chat room or raise your hand using the icon, and we will come back to more Q&A after a few seconds. Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Calibos, the only boss with one S. I'm sure you've heard about Tap Send. Yes, I'm here to tell you Tap Send is the secure way to send money from UK, from the US, from Canada, from Europe to Africa or Asia with no fee. Very fast and very secure. So what are you waiting for? Get onto that platform. It's Tap Send. You can find it on the App Store or Play Store. And guess what? If you use the promo code Calibos, you get for your first transaction you make $10 free. If you're from the US and you're from the UK, it's £5 free. And from Europe, anywhere in Europe, you get €5 free. It's Tap Send.
Me did ya nyantechwa emre bia am disika be free Europe akoma abusuafo wo Ghana no me use tap send no fee mobile money transfer eye easy eye convenient eye fast and sound so ye free won't ya hwe me discover ye mapim tap send entienne also download the tap send app no ewo mobile phone so free na fesika komo abusuafo wo Ghana afa na nyina tap send papa no
So welcome back, audience. This program is put together with the support of Ghana Union, the Ghana Nurses Association UK, the Western Region Association of Nurses UK, and the Ghanaian Nightingale Nurses Association UK. It's also endorsed by the Ghana High Commission for the Peace Community. We've been doing this from February last year till now. So we've gone past a year and we want to keep going. At the comfort of your home, we'll bring you information, awareness, education that you need so that you don't need social media flyers going up and down to understand the issues going on. We do encourage you to share wherever possible when you get the flyers with your people, your friends, your networks, so they can be part of it. Tonight, we have gone through a presentation on E-LEVY. We've looked at the what, the why, and the how. Our expert has gone through a whole lot of information that you and I will need. So we need to come back and then find out some of the things that are still bothering our mind. We'll go to Q&A. I do ask that if you are going to ask a question, please kindly let us see you if you can, and straight to the point. Doctor, we thank you for the time. We have a couple of minutes, I would say about half an hour, 45 minutes to go through. Audience, please raise your hand and I'll call you in order of hand, and also those who have put chat there, I will go through some of them. We also do have a pre-forum questions that comes in. Those who cannot raise their hands for whatever reason during the forum tend to send us messages that we need to go through. So I'll be selecting from here and there as time goes on. At this point, I'll call on those whose hands are up, some of them. Or Ernest Usu Apriye. If you're here with us, Ernest, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
Thank you.
can hear you.
Thank you very much. I mean, some of
welcome.
us, when we heard or we got to know about this, we felt that it was one of those political propaganda. But in truth, it isn't. It's highlighted so many issues. And in fact, some of the concerns that we have, I think you highlighted them in your conclusion.
Okay.
I mean, my worry is what the current government is making about this whole E-levy, as if it's a political issue. I don't think it should be a political issue.
Correct.
It's about generating taxes for development. And like you highlighted in your conclusion, there's so many ways that the government can generate revenue. There are so many mechanisms, there are so many taxes. You hit on one point that I had in mind, especially rental taxes. That is in place in Ghana. But I'm surprised there's so many landlords that get away with it. Why is the government not creating an agency? I mean, you create an agency before you rent your house, you register with that agency. There have to be a registration fee that in itself can generate money, and it can generate employment, so that you know all those people who are renting their houses. When you have that kind of data, you can easily identify them and collect taxes from them, because there are so many landlords that are not paying taxes. And then the question of the informal sector. What is it that we are encouraging the informal sector to create records for themselves, to manage their businesses? If you say that, oh, because they are not in the formal sector, we cannot tax them. How can we indicate that these informal sectors, these businesses are generating profits to tax them? Because in Ghana, I know a lot of people are running businesses. They are running at a loss. So by saying that because they are in the informal sector, because of that, they are not paying their taxes. Yes, some of them are genuinely making profit. Yes, they need to be taxed, but some of them are making losses. So from my perspective, I think the government should sort of move away from politics and then listen to the comments and then the input that other interested parties are inputting, and then engage for us to think as to how we can collect taxes for development. And I thank you very much for your lectures.
We are most
a lot of
grateful.
my misconceptions.
Most grateful.
Mr. Ness.
Yes.
Can I just say that this forum, as you go forward, you need to preach the gospel. We don't do politics. So anytime you see the flyer, please sit down.
Okay.
And let's.
So can I address it a bit for him?
Please go ahead. Yes.
Yes. On Mr. Osofri, we are most grateful. On the rent tax, indeed, you are right. And the Ghana Revenue Authority has started, because last month they made a publication on all the media houses that their team had set out moving from property to property, and landlords should cooperate in giving the information that they are seeking to know, because they want to know whether the place is owned or rented out, how much was it rented out for, whether tax has been paid. So I'm sure they have started. And on the agency, yes, we have the rent control office in Ghana, but as to whether they function is another big issue. There has been that tussle where people argue, when I was incurring costs to put up my house, where were you for you to dictate how much I should charge or how much I should pay as tax? That is the situation, but I think that we will get there. I agree with you on the informal sector. I've always advocated that it is one area that government can kill two birds with one stone. You see, we have a huge unemployment problem, and we had this NABCO, National Builders Corps, NABCO, where we have these unemployed graduates on attachment at institution. Government can get, like those who have learned accounting, have a pool of them, and then all informal sector people can just walk to the office with their records for their accounts to be prepared for them. And the money we would raise can pay them their salaries. Because as you rightly said, some are making losses. Question is, without records, how do I know you are making losses? And then also, if you are making profit, how would we know you are disclosing all the profit? But if they are also able to see what the tax revenue is used for, that is when they become compliant. I think that is one of our biggest challenges, that people don't see what they read of corruption, embezzlement. Is that what our tax money is being used for? You know, that kind of, back home where you are in UK, I'm sure you can attest, everything is functioning, sort of, you understand. But here, what do you see? So I think that I keep telling that as government is calling for tax compliance, can we also see government showing what the tax revenue is being used for? Of late, we can see a lot of road infrastructure being developed. People see it. And that was one reason why I didn't even understand why road tolls should be abolished. Because everybody is seeing the roads, year of roads. Why then don't we even increase the toll fee? People were prepared to pay. How do you pay 1 cedi driving through a toll with a 4-wheel drive? 5 cedis is not asking too much. Because to fill the tank of that vehicle, you are way above 100,000. 100 Ghana. So if you are paying 5 cedis to cross a toll, I'm sure it's not acting too much. I thought we could have, because you don't abolish toll booths. Everywhere in this world, there are toll booths. We rather automate it so that if I know I'll go to Kumasi within the week, I go and pay. And once I approach the toll booth, the bar will lift and I pass because my car number has been imputed into the system. And this is an economy where we are digitalizing and everybody is seeing it working. Why couldn't we do that? If it is in the cities and causing congestion, why don't you relocate the toll booth? Because if you are going to Kumasi, they've relocated it towards, forgetting the area. You don't meet traffic when you get there because it's outskirts. And so I think that we, as you rightly said, we need to really think outside the box. I think so. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your response. I'm going to take you through one chat room question. Somebody is saying, is this really a tax? At least some people would have paid taxes on the money in their bank account. Okay. The E-levy is basically a double taxation.
Correct.
What is your view on that? People would have worked, they would have been paid. Those who are, what is it called? The 1.7 or 2 million people who are paying taxes have been taxed already. Now, this poor man is sending some to the grandmother in the village, and he has to pay extra. Is this a fair way of taxing people? How do you differentiate those who have already paid tax on their money that they are sent to those who have not paid tax?
Okay. Thank you very much. Indeed, it was one of the examples I gave, and I agree with him that one of the impacts of the E-levy is this issue of double taxation. Because if you are a salaried worker and all your income is from your employment, you would have suffered pay as you earn tax, employee tax. Now, if your salary was, say, 5,000, you've paid tax of about 800. You are left with 4,200. You intend to transfer 1,000 to your mother in the village, and you are to pay 1.75% on that same money. That's double taxation. And even if it gets to your mother, she wants to also transfer to pay for medication at the pharmacy through Momo. She also has to deduct 1.75. Then it's even triple, not double. And the unfairness you have indicated is also right in the sense that supposing two of us approach a fuel station to buy fuel to refill our cars. Now I have cash on me. So we fill our tanks at 300 each. I pay by cash. I don't pay E-levy. You have mobile money. They have mobile money. You decide to pay by mobile money. You have to pay 1.75 just because of your choice of mode of payment. Then it makes it punitive operating Momo. But that shouldn't be the case. And that is why some people say that it is a regressive tax. And the Minister of Finance doesn't want to hear anything about that because he said, no, it is not regressive. But indeed, if you analyze it, of course, there is that regressivity. We all go to the restaurant and eat. I pay cash, I don't pay E-levy. You decide to pay by Momo, they say pay additional 1.75 as E-levy. That imbalance, of course, leads to that double taxation, cascading effect of tax. And that is what we think has been the unfairness of it.
Thank you.
You will.
Thank you. Somebody is also sent a direct message saying, how can the E-Levy help build roads? Because it appears that, this is political. I don't know whether the approach to educating the public is wrong or the information they are giving is wrong.
Okay.
It has come to some knowledge that the E-Levy will solve every problem in Ghana. It's quite bemusing when you hear it that we have in a country where we have a lot of money flowing from overseas and other, other joint venture or guarantees or whatever, I don't know. And they are saying that 12 million Ghana or 12 billion or whatever a year will solve our problem when billions of Ghana debt hasn't solved the problem. So somebody is asking, is this really going to really build roads? Is this what is going to solve the road problem and other infrastructure problem? What's your view? And I know you are only giving us an educated view. You are not a politician.
No
so where
problem.
you feel like you don't answer, let's just
no problem.
take it.
I think it's a legitimate question because as I indicated that if it is to part of the money, 0.25% is going to go into road infrastructure, then one would ask, then why would you take off toll booth? If it's not even bringing enough, at least E-Levy will bring additional funds to build the road. So why not keep it and then add some more? Again, the legitimacy in his question comes from the fact that indications are that last year, the road fund generated over 1.2 billion Ghana cedis for the road sector. Remember, all the money that is for road sector is not only the toll booth. The petroleum price buildup has taxes, part of which is meant for the road fund. So a lot of sources go into the road fund. It's not only the toll booth. And so if there was about 1.2 billion generated last year, then it means if we had revised the tolls that we pay, it could even add more. And even if E-Levy had come on, it will increase it the more. So the question is it going to be sufficient? So that's a legitimate question. But as the defenders of the E-Levy will always indicate, we are not saying that is all it will do. It is additional funds. So I think it's a legitimate question that there are other sources of funds that could help. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. We do have a lot of hands up. We also have a lot
of questions on no problem.
So
let's take
I
them.
will let you take 3 questions at a time and address them.
Okay.
In a very simple and precise manner, so we can take more. So I'm going to call Anta G, followed by Noble Amwatin and Jones Ewia. Those 3 to ask their questions. And Anta, if you want to unmute and ask your question, Doc will take those 3 and respond to them, and we'll move to another set of 3.
Thank you,
Is Anta still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Thank you, Grayson, and good evening, everyone. Dr. Abdallah, thank you for the presentation.
You're most welcome.
My name is Anita Graham. A few things. You've mentioned that the E-Levy will be additional funds. But what's the point of collecting revenue if we are mismanaging it, misappropriating it, and not using it for the purpose for which it was collected? Why should revenue be or tax be collected from the poor, the mason, the carpenter, and used to finance extra Supreme Court judges? 8 more have been appointed at 150,000 Ghana cedis a month. That's 1.2 million a month to the taxpayer. And then you have all these V8s, ministers or MPs have increased from 200 to 275. Why create additional districts and regions and MPCs? That's costing the taxpayer another 7.5 million cedis a month. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter how much money is collected. If we don't stop corruption and misappropriation, it's just pointless. Again, the 52 billion cedis that was mentioned in your report and in the chat box, why is it that none of the parties are talking about it? Neither NPP nor NDC nor any other party. Why are they not chasing wherever the 52 billion cedis, which is equivalent to $6 billion? Why are they not chasing that?
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you very much.
Doc, hold on for the next person. I'm sure you are making notes.
Yes.
Noble, I'm watching, please. Unmute yourself, sir.
Essentially, I'm making a general comment.
Okay.
Thanks for Dr. Abu's lecture. It was very useful. But the comment I'm making is we've examined the whole range of issues. You talked about corruption, you talked about that, and so on. So far as I'm concerned, the key factor that undermines Ghana's income collection growth, income collection and the growth of income is dishonesty and corruption. Because most of the figures you highlighted that a whole lot of interested parties have been mentioning that could be collected, you tend to find that most of them, the corruption exists in the civil service. Whoever is asked to collect the tax, as GRA has said, you find that the person is not whoever the organization involved. Go behind the scenes, do a renegotiation with those people who are supposed to pay the tax and takes bribes. So essentially, most of our problems are actually embedded in our own culture, integrity, and the willingness to be honest. Understand the fact that we need taxes as a country to help with development, because the Ghanaian mentality is based upon the fact that we have a government somewhere who is generating money from the air, like plugging it from heaven to spend. This has been our attitude right from the very beginning, right from, if you as a lecturer, if you go back and look at during the time of Kwame Nkrumah, that is the main problem we're having. People were spending money and they're going a whole lot of corruption and making the development agenda that Kwame Nkrumah had, made him bankrupt. And this is, in the main, the key thing that we have to be looking at. So now you say, why am I saying this? I want to bring you to the fact that I was really impressed with the finance minister, that for the first time, the government has sat down, looked at how taxes are, what taxes are coming in, how it's spread all over the country, and so on and so forth. So based upon this, they were able to throw out some figures or percentages, as you said. Less than about 2% of us are actually paying our due tax.
Mr. Noble, you can round up your comments so we can move.
Yeah, now what I'm saying, I've heard all that has been going on, but I personally think at the very least, 1.5% should be acknowledged and accepted by the country for us to move on. There should be that system. The E-levy has to come up. And I agree that people say it should start lower, but I still think even the 1.5, it shouldn't go lower than that.
Thank you very much. Jones, please, Jones.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for this presentation. It's been very insightful. I've just got a couple of things. So firstly, if, I don't know whether you can comment on this, if, the lack of funds for government, if it's down to, mismanagement of, from the government, if you can answer that question. And then secondly, I think you actually touched on what I was going to ask. This is to do with corruption. And there was an article written by, what's her name, Mary Noah Wokolo for London School of Economics. This was back in 2019. And she made this observation. So she was commenting about the mining industry in Ghana and how Ghana actually benefits from taxation on corporations. However, she went on to say that the country loses about 2.2 billion in uncollected taxes.
Yeah.
Also, illegal gold exports to the UAE, which are often carried in hand luggages, cost the country about $5 billion. So if the government was able to over exceed its expectation in tax collection, how is it not able? How is it not able to be able to, you know, stop these loopholes? I mean, I understand no countries, you know, people don't like paying taxes. However, you spoke about the GDP and we spoke about unemployment. This is not a bad policy in my eyes. I just think it's poorly executed, and I think it has been introduced at the wrong time. So if government can look at the loopholes, especially in the mining sector, I think that would really help.
Thank you, Jones. I think you made a good point. Doc, you've got 3 to respond to, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let's be brief, because
I think
want you
Anita. Come again.
Okay, please.
Okay.
No, I said
think
to be brief if you can, so that we can attend to so many others.
Okay, no problem. I think Madam Anita's first question on the mismanagement ties also the same with Mr. Weir's first point also, whether there's mismanagement of funds by government. I would say that, like I've always said, and I'll let you know that indeed since 2012, anytime the budget is read, I happen to be the one who goes through the fiscal measures with Parliament. So I've been with them since 2012 because I have to take them through these policies so they can debate on the floor of Parliament. So this presentation I'm making is not new to them. I've done it with Parliament, with all the stakeholders there, and raise questions like you are raising that we've discussed. And this question is dear to me because I have always said, no matter the amount you raise, as Anita and Jones have said, if you cannot manage your expenditure, you will not have enough. Even in our own homes, I don't think we've had enough. We would have been sleeping, we won't go to work, isn't it? So expenditure management is key to us. For example, I indicated that, look, when the budget was read, can you shelve the E-levy? Do stakeholder consultation, come up with what rate is preferable, what range should it be covered? All that, I was ignored. The bill was put in Parliament, it was rejected. Now they've started doing town hall meetings. Look at the amount of money being spent on town hall meetings. And I ask myself, who gets married before going for marriage counseling? Noble, don't we go for marriage counseling before we get married? Now you have fixed your 1.75. You fix your 100 threshold. You are going to consult. If the Osofo says that this lady is not good for you, can you break the marriage? You're already married. So that is the difficulty of government to even listen to ideas. For me, that is what I see. This consultation town hall should have been done before. You see, it's one thing consulting people and another taking what they say. You may even ignore all what they are saying, but they know that you are coming with a 1.75, so they'll get ready. So if you say we consulted, people propose 0.5, some 0.5, but we think 1.75 is what will help. Let's go ahead. What can they say? They were consulted. So that is why I agree with Chairman. I think the management of the policy for me is a problem. And Madam Anita raised the same issue of the money that is lost, the corruption, also ties in with what Jones mentioned, the amount being lost in the mining sector. All the figures you mentioned are true. And that is a whole lecture on its own, illicit financial flows, which I've delivered on so many platforms, what we are losing as a country, illicit financial flows. You will be shocked that then we don't need to borrow, because what we are losing is over and above the amounts we've borrowed, plus even foreign direct investment into this country over all these years. And they are here and making the money. So the question is, can we put our acts together? And Noble, you mentioned dishonesty and corruption. And you'll be surprised. We now have even set up a tax criminal court. It just started last month or last 2 months. The good thing people are not seeing is that it's not only about going after recalcitrant taxpayers. If we find any revenue officer involved in corruption, he will be dragged before that court. So I think we would get there. And that is what I would say on that. But on the payment of taxes, before we started, I was telling Chairman, you are even looking at Kwame Nkrumah's time and people not paying taxes. Even Jesus Christ's time, people didn't pay taxes. What did the Pharisees do? They approached him and said, should we pay taxes? What did Jesus tell them? Whose head is on the coin? So render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So as for aversion to taxes, is time immemorial. But Jesus Christ also proved that be compliant. Go and give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So I think that all the issues you have raised are legitimate. And I agree with Jones. If we plug the loopholes, and as Anita said, manage our expenditure, I think we would not need IMF. I think so. That I agree with the minister. We don't need IMF.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. I have a question that came through to me on pre-follow questions. Someone is saying that I have my house in Ghana. I bought my land 3 times because there's no compliance in Ghana, and I had to pay 3 times. I had no government supporting me in anything. I built my house from scratch. Why should the government come and ask me for house or land, whatever tax you mentioned? Because effectively, we don't buy land to build houses. The houses are built, you buy it, and it's either freehold or leasehold, and it's as simple as that. Over there, you have houses that people are still paying for the land they bought 30 years ago because somebody has sold it 5 times. So you put somebody in that situation, how do you expect that person to expect? They are not getting water, they are not getting their rubbish picked up. There is no any public facility around the area that they are enjoying. Why would you want such a person to be paying property tax? That's number one. Somebody's also said on the chart, it's about time the government decentralized to enable proper probity and accountability in the country. Regional and district sectors don't seem to function. Everything is centralized in Accra. So a lot of district and local areas have used Accra as a safe haven to commit so much crime. In the way of getting to Accra, the amount of money you would have paid to get remedy to one simple situation, everybody is eating from that situation. And the poor and average Ghanaian who hasn't got access to power and access to network of MPs and honorables, they suffer in silence. So that is one area that somebody is thinking the government needs to bring probity to the doorstep of the people. As most people in our country know, Mayor of London is responsible for London and is questioned on matters affecting London. When it comes to certain parts of Ghana, some mayors are just there by title, to be honest with you. That is number 2 from chat room. Somebody's also said revenue generation must be aligned to efficient expenditure. You watch the Public Account Committee sittings, and it is so alarming how physical indiscipline has become so prevalent. So basically, we do things with impunity, and we expect the ordinary Ghanaian to be okay with it. It comes to election, we come and say all those promises and talks, and as soon as we gain power, I know this is not your area. You are just an expert in taxation and a lecturer. I don't want to put you on any spot. And like I said, where you can comment, please do. Where you cannot, please feel free to say, this is not my field. I want to know if you can relate to any of these 3, please.
Okay, thank you very much. On the first one, yes, we agree that you paid for your house. As for paying it 3 times or buying it 3 times, I wouldn't blame anybody, but I'll only sound a note of caution. We all know that if you want to buy a property, excuse me to say, it's not like buying something from the market where you go is in a shop. So you enter, you pay for it and move up. If you don't do the requisite due diligence on the land title and owner, you have a problem. A colleague lawyer just told me that one of the juniors brought a document and said a lady has brought a document for it to be notarized for her. And it was land document. So he took it and quickly placed a call to Lands Commission, gave the details, only for them to give the details of the owner as somebody with you in the UK as we are talking. And the lady husband to bring the document was going to have done a change of ownership. Straight away, they reported and got arrested right in the offices. So if you don't go through the processes to make sure you certify the document, too bad. Because that is the kind of situation that our national player, Marcel Desailly, that his 9 sports complex in East Legon, he had to pay for it 3 times. Families change, this family goes to court, win, takes the title, you have to go to pay to them or they will take it from you. We need to, because your hard work overseas, I feel pain when you are treated that way when you come home. Those home don't know what you go through there. It's really a painful experience. So I would understand why after you are done with that property and you let out, they will come and say again, you have to pay rent tax. But of course, the law is the law and you know it, you live with it in the UK. When the law says you have to pay the rent tax, what can we do? And that is why I keep saying that as to whether e-levy would be or would not be lies with Parliament. If the law is passed today, all our discussion and argument would not do anything. Because under Article 1741 of our Constitution, no tax shall be imposed otherwise by or under the authority of an act of Parliament. So when they pass it, nobody can cough. You see, and I keep saying that a tax is what the law says it is. So if government even gets out today and say, if you brief, you pay tax, there is nothing you can do. So it's unfortunate, but well, as much as you pay tax and you don't get the services being provided, of course, it's a social contract theory. Once you pay your taxes, you can call for whatever has to be provided to be provided. In any case, once the building is put up, water to be connected to it, electricity to be connected to it, it's not ours, it's government that provided it. So that is what I have to say on that. On the decentralization, I can't more than agree because that is what it should be. I like the example Chairman gave. If you are the mayor of Accra, why should you be subservient? Accra is yours. Manage it, raise the revenue and provide for the people of Accra. But we have a centralized system where we happen not to be like Nigeria, where it's a federal system. But at least in our kind of unitary system, we still have regions and districts. And I think that we decentralize them administratively. We don't decentralize them economically, which is why we see the imbalance in development. If you go to Brazil, you go to Malaysia, you find out that property taxation paid doesn't go into the national kitty. It's for the area where you live and you've paid the tax. That is where it should be used to develop. But people cannot sit in places, pay property rate, and is used to develop another place. It doesn't work that way. That is why some of us believe that if we don't develop a proper property tax system, where the people who are in Agbogloshi, the property rate they pay is used to develop Agbogloshi. East Legon is used to develop East Legon. Medina is for Medina. Then people go to East Legon and come and say, I've seen these street lights in East Legon. What? He said, because they pay their property tax. Then they also pay and get the light. But if we leave everything to central government, we will have problems. So I agree with you that decentralization, probity must be with the people. They need to also follow the administrative decentralization with the economic aspect. Then I agree with the last speaker in as much as it doesn't look to be my area, as he said. But of course, if you are asking for the revenue, as I said, you need to show what you've used it for. And then we will know that if we had paid more, you could have done better. But if it is paid and you don't see it, like I was giving you the example, people have been paying taxes and complaining bad roads, but today people can see road networks being improved. So I think that if we can extend it to other sectors for people to see what the tax revenue is used for, why should you be driving in the city at night and you can't see anywhere? Today, in fact, yesterday, there was a publication of the various street lights that have been completed in various communities in Accra. And that is what we want to see, accountability. And I think that with that, people would be more compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think I do like your response to the, decentralization. People's money must be felt within the area.
In the area where they pay the tax.
We pay council tax, we pay council tax, and I keep my street being cleaned. I can call service, I can call police, I can call ambulance, and they will be there in minutes. I can't see that happening in my village in Takra. They calling an ambulance, but there's no ambulance there.
I keep complaining. I'm in a 4-bedroom house, and my annual property rate they bring me 134 Ghana cedis. I said, what can this do in this community? And even the bill they are bringing to you, if you see how colorful it is with Ghana coat of arms, I said the bill is even worth more than the value on the bill. Why can't we do property valuation and give me a proper bill? Because my electricity bill is almost 1,000 Ghana cedis for electricity. How much more the property I'm living in? But you don't get the response. And you have people reacting, well, some of us are pensioners. If they increase it, we can't pay. There are the genuine concerns of people who built and are now on pension and don't earn income. We can look at it and do all that segregation. 70-year-old or pensioner, when you are in a property, will discount it by 70% and you pay only 30%. Fine, we can work it out.
Yes, thank you. There are 2 hands up. Alpha D, and then Dr. Oforikwa, please. Let's go straight to the point. No background, sorry. Let's ask the question so that others can take a turn.
Hi.
Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quayson and Dr. Abdullah. Excellent presentation. You've clarified quite a few things for me. I'm in Germany. I work as a space engineer, but that's totally beside the point. But what I bring that in because I'm talking about the analysis of what you just said. Okay. My understanding of, I went to tech, so did a master's degree there. So that's where I'm coming from, the analysis of the problem, not only from the financial perspective, but also from the social perspective. We have this culture in Ghana where we don't pay taxes. Fine, not an issue. There are reasons for it. We also have the culture in Ghana where everybody is corrupt. We look at the governments. When Nana came in, Nana Akufo-Addo with the MPP, we said change was the value. When I asked some of my counterparts in Ghana, are you willing to change? Let's see what the government does. The backpackers, the kalabules, the blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to be the change that they want to see. And this is part of the problem. And now coming to what I really want to put before you, we've talked about accountability. We've talked about auditing and stuff like that, right? Transparency is something we do not have in Ghana. We've got this 52 billion that was in 2020, nobody's talking about. Anita said about it earlier on. And I am almost absolutely certain if you go back to your 2012 days, transparency as to what the taxes were paid, and where that money traced, follow the money as to where it went to. I think you'll find it in some of these houses that were built for personal reasons. And therefore, one of your solutions that you said, I was listening to you very carefully. Thank you again for the very good and concise presentation. You definitely earn your fees, and
thank you.
They probably don't pay you enough in what you may call it in the university.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, some of these things we need to get your guys, your NAPCO guys, our guys coming out of university, go into auditing, audit the government coffers. That's it. Don't bother going to collect tax. Just audit the government coffers.
That's all.
The other point is crime pays in Ghana. Everybody wants to be a politician. Why? Because they can chop money. How buying Nidia is the government money. The point is not the government's money. I'm sorry. I'm a property owner. I pay taxes, right? I expect to see certain things. I don't see them. I get miffed. But Sana yen, Famanyami, all this nonsense, Charlie, crime should pay.
Sure.
Right? And we should find these guys and
go straight to the question. So we can take 10 minutes left, please. Sir.
Okay. The other thing, so the last thing I want to talk about, we're talking about this E-LEVY, and this is why this whole scenario. I was in a boot camp today, right, for blockchain. Yeah, where we are leaving no African behind, Pan-African Tech Foundation, right, set up by a Ghanaian living in London, right, so that we leave, and we've gone round Africa. Last year, the whole of Africa was reached in various regions. Now we're going by language. If we can't get digital taxation on E-LEVY, when a blockchain is the thing that is coming like a tidal wave towards us, there is absolutely zero way we're going to see any money from anywhere. So we need to be thinking about the future, not only the present. Thank you.
Sir. Dr. Forikwa, please, let's be precise to the point, if I may ask. We've got 10 minutes left. I don't want to overextend our time, but there's a lot of questions in the chat I want to deal with. Dr. Forikwa, please, you want to unmute yourself, sir.
Right, Doc, that was a good presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. Most grateful, Doc.
In terms of property taxation,
yes, Doc,
we need a proper national property registration system.
Correct.
I have 5 different addresses for my house. AMA, Lands Commission, Electricity Corporation, Water Company, and the street. So when you go, when I go to pay my tax, because my tax is withheld, and I need to get a certificate to be able to complete my tax returns in the UK. But there are 5 different addresses. It's ridiculous. We need a proper national property registration system if we will ever be able to collect taxes on property, because 5 different addresses, different numbers, it just doesn't work. So we need a proper property registration system first and foremost. And this is Accra. This is airport residential area. It's not in a village anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Most great.
If you want to react to those 2, then I will.
Okay. I think as Mr. Abdi mentioned, he gave contribution, but I agree with what he indicated. For transparency, the audit should even start with the government agencies, because we need to audit the expenditure. So I agree with that. And then on the issue of the blockchain, like I indicated, interestingly, the policy on the taxation of e-commerce has been done and is being rolled out. The Commissioner General tells us 1st April. So I can assure you, I think they will be ready by then for the blockchain. They just need to up their game. Then on Dr. Forikwa's issue, I agree with you on the challenges you are facing, but I thought that with the rollout of the property addressing system, we expected all these to collapse into only that digital address. But I share in your complaint, because even with the digital address system, it depends on where within the compound you stand. It will give you a different address. So I agree with you perfectly. We need a proper addressing system. Otherwise, as you rightly said, how do you even identify and trace the property and then demand the tax? No, I agree with you. And I think that it's something they need to address. There have been challenges when this digital address started that it won't solve the problem. It also went back and forth with debate like the E-LEVY. So I just hope that they sort it out. Thank you, Doc. Most grateful.
Thank you, Doc. Audience, at this point, I need to obviously make you aware the next program for this forum As you know, we aim to bring you the best and only the best with best topics that you enjoy and you'll be more interested and you can contribute to it. Over the many years of 2 years since, Ghana ID card started, I have been questioned over and over. And thanks to Doc for helping me reach out to the right people and all of that. The next program on the 11th of March, we will be talking about acquiring Ghana card. As you know, Ghana card is progressing and Ghana is now mandating it to be the only card, I believe, that you can use to do so much in Ghana. Now, from the diaspora perspective, we don't have access in the diaspora. So we have managed to, invite the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Augustine Blay, who is the digital man pushing for digital ideas with the Vice President outfit. We also have Professor Kenneth Ajiman Atefua, who's the Chief Executive Secretary to the National Identification Authority. The two men, I believe, I hope, and I believe they will be here next 2 weeks to help us find out how we, those diaspora, can also be involved in the national exercise without necessarily traveling to Ghana. What are the implications? What are the things we need to know? What are the details that will go on? Where will it be stored? All those vital questions. Please, when you get a flyer, invite others to join. It is very important. Thank you very much. And hopefully the flyer will come out in the next couple of days after today. At this point, I would like to remind the audience that this program has been brought to you by the help of Ghana Union, the Ghana Nurses Association, the Western Nurses Association, and the Nightingale Ghanaian Association. It is being sponsored by TapTapSend, IT Consortium, and supported by Ghana High Commission. We thank the audience for being here. Doc, we have a few questions. I know we've got 4 more minutes. But we've got some challenging questions that I may have to go through with you. Right, okay. Somebody's talking about accounting for COVID-19. No, we will deal with that later. COVID-19 fund. Right. So somebody's saying the government needs to intervene and make good policies on land registration. I believe it's to do with your comment about land and going the extra mile to check blah, blah, all the things you need to know. That somebody said the government needs to do more when it comes to land registration. It is the Land Commission responsibility to enforce and ensure that the land is properly administered. There are instances where people have carried out the necessary searches and at the same time purchasing the land, registering it's clear. Then later, when the building starts, someone comes up and claim ownership and where possible, even pull down your building. How do we deal with that issue? So it doesn't quite stop with somebody not doing their due diligence. And I personally have had to deal with some issues of this nature. So I understand this particular point. Another person is also saying, accounting for COVID-19, I will deal with that later. That's not for today. Most suggestions have been, my question is, it seems Dr. Ali Nchia advises various government agencies who choose to ignore his wisdom. So collectively, how do we get those in power to change their archaic mood of selective hearing and listening to wisdom to try to provide better, I don't know what he was trying to say, solutions to our problem. Basically, somebody thinks that people like yourself and others in your highly esteemed knowledge and profession could be useful to government irrespective of whether affiliation or not. And blatantly, they tend to ignore you because from what we are hearing from you, if people are listening and on other matters, not necessarily E-LEVY and other things, hopefully we could have been in a better place. If you can react to those 2 comments, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think that I agree with the issue of land registration, and I hope I can get links again for you, just as I did for the Ghana card. I'm hoping to get links for you so you try and do a session on the new Land Act. I'll try and see if I can get Justice Dennis of the Court of Appeal himself. Very versatile. I think the new Land Act solves a lot of the challenges you used to have. And I believe sincerely that your challenges would now be a thing of the past, because the new Land Act is very extensive. In fact, some chiefs have even had to be dragged to court, and they are likely to go to jail and lose even their titles. And I'm sure maybe you may have heard the visit of the Minister for Lands to Asante, and he was even saying that for him, he thinks he's not part of the provisions of the Land Act, but it is so severe that it can have serious impact. So I hope and pray that resolves our challenges. I'll try and get, if you fix another time, we will try to get you somebody to do the land issue with you. Then on how to get the governments to listen, I have always indicated that that is the biggest challenge of Ghana. We only need managers of the economy to have a listening ear. Because as you rightly said, there are a lot of policies that I spoke against by the previous government. They did not listen, imposed them. This government listened and came and struck them out and called them nuisance taxes, if you remember. But then they also were bringing taxes. I indicated, no, this is not appropriate. They brought them, they've canceled. One of them was vehicle luxury levy. I spoke extensively against it. They imposed it 1 year, they took it off. I spoke against VAT flat rate. They imposed it. This year, they are taking it off. I spoke against benchmark values. Benchmark value, because the understanding and application of the benchmark value was not understood. This year, they wanted to review. You saw the agitation by AGI and GUTA, and they couldn't. So they just had to reduce it from 30% to 10% for vehicles and 50 to 30 for general goods. But that's a lot of revenue loss. Because if I sit here and I import a G-Wagon with whatever value, am I saying I didn't know the duty I'll pay and I ordered that car? Why should government grant me a rebate of 30%? You buy the car, you think you can pay the duty and drive. But then government says pay only 70% of the value and go. Then you don't need the tax revenue. And so now they are trying to revise it. So I think it's a big headache we have. We just need them to listen, whichever government it is, because it's all about Ghana. Whichever way you are in it. If it's well, it's good for you. If it is not, you drive on the bad roads.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. All that time will allow us to bring to you this evening. We want to thank all of you for being with us and staying true to this 2-hour session. I'm sure, Doc, we have enjoyed you. You are one of the key people to have back on any issue that pops up. The beauty of having you is that we don't have to have two political parties who are just arguing against themselves. We've had some talking from expertise and from a neutral perspective. Even if you have your own affiliation, at least for certain topics, you can deliver a session without aligning yourself to it. And it helps those of us who are not around the situation to understand things much better. So I'm grateful for your presence and your delivery. Would you give us your closing remarks, please, if you have anything you want to add to everything else that we've
well, thank you very much. And my closing remarks are basically the fact that, as you rightly said, wherever we are, I believe that most of our friends on this platform belong to one party or the other, and they do have their caucus meetings. And I think that is an opportunity for them to also try and put in their little technical input, because whatever they discuss there gets to their people here, because they also contribute to the growth of the party, so that at least if it's from within, people may listen rather than some of us, because sometimes when you are pushing and it's not in the favor of one person, he thinks you belong to the other side. If it's in the favor of the other, he thinks he belongs to the other side. But if it's from within and they all would be truthful to themselves and say, for this, we think this is the way to go, I believe they will listen to you, because you are a big force. If they are to look at the transfers you make to dependence and relations in Ghana is a big chunk of our foreign exchange drive, which is also helping. And so I don't think that your input should be taken for granted. And once you have sessions like this, you can always put together a communique and pass on to the various agencies that would be able to act on it, because it's for the better of all of us. Thank you very much for your time, attention, and participation. Most grateful.
Thank you so much. And we want to thank all the others who have called in and joined from Germany and other parts of the world. As you can see, we try our best to bring you the best. And tonight has been one of the best sessions we've had so far. Dr. Abdullah Ali Nachia, we thank you for your time. We wish you Godspeed in all your endeavors. And on behalf of the Ghanaian community, we thank all audience for joining us. Until we meet in 2 weeks' time, the topic will be on Ghana card. Ghana card. Everybody is talking about it in Ghana. Everybody wants to have a Ghana card. Some of you cannot travel to Ghana to get it. This is your chance to attend 2 weeks' time. Please keep the information going, let others know, and we'll meet again in 2 weeks' time, God's willing. Stay safe and be well. Good night.
Good night.
Hello, hi. My name is Calibos, the only boss with one S. I'm sure you've heard about Send. Yes, I'm here to tell you Send is the secure way to send money from UK, from the US, from Canada, from Europe to Africa or Asia with no fee. Very fast and very secure. So what are you waiting for? Get onto that platform. It's Send. You can find it on the App Store or Play Store. And guess what? If you use the promo code Calibos, you get for your first transaction you make $10 free. If you're from the US and you're from the UK, it's £5 free. And from Europe, anywhere in Europe, you get €5 free. It's Send.
Medidi ya nyantechwa emrebiam diskabe free Europe akoma busuafo wo Ghana no me use tap send no fee mobile money transfer eye easy eye convenient eye fast and sound so ye free won't ya hwe me discover ye mapim tap send entienne also download the tap send app no e wo mobile phone so free na fesika komo abusuafo wo Ghana afa na nyina tap send papa no